Hey guys, Banana here. Welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. This is the third video of my series where we are covering beginner topics for any of you who's watching this video and are new to the game right now. Alright, so in my last video we talked about selling rares and how there are some rares that you should definitely keep. And in case you guys forgot, here's a recap. Every time you sell a rare, you actually get 30 diamonds back, and that's the best way to use them because they don't actually serve much purpose in the game, except for the rares that I'm about to share with you that you should keep. So otherwise, besides the one copy that you should keep at all times, you should sell all of the other rares. And that's why we are making this video, because we want to talk about what rares you should definitely keep to make the early game part of your journey a bit more simpler. The first one is going to be very straightforward. It's going to be the 3-star lords that are in every faction that have it available. So you can see right here, Borut is actually one of the first few lords that you get in the game. It is a 3-star lord which gives a 5% basic attribute boost. And there is also a lord skill which grants 10% increased damage and healing bonus for 20 seconds. And we have the same 3-star lord in the Northerner faction as well. There's Dagna, same 5% basic attribute boost, and then also a periodic 10% shield for 15 seconds. And the very last one is gonna be Nero, same attribute boost, and this one is a big one. 15% extra damage for all faction team members when they deal damage to enemies inflicted with this crowd control effects. So these are the units that you want to keep because you don't get lords that early on in the game. And some of this, like the Curse Card one, does provide quite a big boost. For example, in Borut 1, when I first started out, I remember using Nero as the lord to help me get through some of the earlier stages. So these 3 units, definitely keep them and make sure you lock them away. We'll talk more about how to keep your rares and make sure you don't accidentally sell them later. But for now, just know that these 3 lords, you can keep them until you get the epic equivalent. After that, feel free to sell them. But one special call out is for Borut. Borut has a knockback in his ultimate, and this is very, very important for Gear Dungeon 2, which you'll unlock later on in the game. So make sure you keep Borut, but you can sell Dagna and Nero if you don't like how they look, and you want to get that 30 diamonds back from them. Alright. So those are the 3 lords that you should keep. Now, let's actually go through the rest of the units here. We'll talk about why they are useful, why you need to keep them, and if there are any units that I do not mention, chances are you can go ahead to sell them. Alright, the first unit is going to be Narvi. And what Narvi specializes in is cost regeneration. What is cost? Cost is the currency that is used whenever you enter a campaign stage or arena or guild boss. You will have a set amount of cost that you start with, and as the game progresses, the stage progresses, you get more cost. But in some stages, cost is pretty tight because you might be required to despawn units quite a bit, and when you despawn units, you only get half of their cost back. So that's where units like Narvi come in if you need the extra cost boost to get the strategy going. And Narvi is the only rare unit that restores cost. So just make sure you keep a copy of her. Most probably you might use her in Borut 2 or Borut 3. She also gives inspiration, which is a boost to attack. And in case you guys haven't caught on, attack is the most important stats in the game because the damage formula in Watcher of Realms is attack minus defense. So there's only so much gear and all you can put on the unit. Inspiration units are what helps you get past some of these thresholds sometimes. So that's it for Narvi. The rest of her kit is nothing impressive. It's really all tied to her ultimate, where she grants 10% inspiration, 20% at max level, and she gets 8 cost back whenever she does her ultimate. Alright, the next unit we're going to talk about is Decimus. And Decimus is probably one of the best rares out there in the game because you use him all the way in the end game stages as well. You always have a place for him because of his passive Defiance. So when HP drops to 0, the hero remains alive and continues to fight for 8 more seconds at max level. The rest of the notes here, you don't really have to care about it. He will die afterwards and he cannot be revived. What they mean by cannot be revived is not that you cannot redeploy him. It's just that you cannot use units that grant, for example, Valkyra. She revives one-time units in her attack range. When Decimus dies from this, he is not going to be able to revive from that. And redeployment time is also another reason why Decimus is so good. He has an 18-second redeployment time, and when you see most of the other units, it's going to be at 60 seconds. And that's what pairs him so well with some of the strategies where you need him to, stay alive, to tank some hits, and then you can redeploy him quickly after. So that's one of the reasons why you want to keep Decimus. He's going to be used heavily in Guild Raid 2 and some endgame content as well. Some of the unique stages, he's going to be used as well. So make sure you keep him locked away. And that's it for the fighters. We are going to move on to the defenders, which there aren't any good ones except for Dekna, like I mentioned earlier. So let's move on to the marksman. You're going to see two units here that I want to talk about. The first one is Kilk. So Kilk used to be a very, very solid unit because he used to do poison that was not based on magic damage. Now he's no longer as useful. And I wouldn't say you need to keep him. In fact, the unit that you want to keep is actually this uncommon unit called Liam. You can't even buy him in the Dwarven shop. Nothing too fancy about his kit except for the ultimate. You can see right here, Neurotoxin deals continuous true damage equal to 1% of target's max HP per second, stacking up to 3 times. And this is the only unit in the game right now that does Neurotoxin. And it's going to come in very handy in some stages where the boss is very hard to take care of. Neurotoxin basically helps you to sort all that out. And that is the only reason you need to actually keep him, because he's the only unit that can do this Neurotoxin. And all the other units that do poison, it basically scales off their attack. This is the only unit that does Neurotoxin that scales off the target's max HP. Alright, so that's Liam, the only marksman you should keep. You don't have to keep Kilk anymore because he's been nerfed after they removed Neurotoxin from his kit. Alright, and then down to the mages here. You are going to get Voltus as one of your first few units. You can use him until you get your first AoE mage, but in my opinion, he's not going to be kept into the late game part of things. Nero, we mentioned, he is a 3-star counter slot, so you can definitely keep him. But the rest of these mages, you can go ahead to sell. And then for the healers here, you're going to get Camille, as well as Langlin probably in the earlier parts of the game. Aaron. Aaron is kind of unique where he can dispel debuffs, but it is only to one target ally. You might use him in some stages where poison is involved and you need the dispel, but in all honesty, the only unit that you should take note of here is going to be Autumn. So we mentioned a lot about inspiration units where they boost attack. Autumn is one of the rare units in the game that grants crit damage increase of 60% at max level. And I don't think there's any other rare unit that can actually do this. So make sure you keep her. In the case that you don't get an inspiration unit early on in the game, Autumn is going to be your next best option. The low cost really helps her to be very handy, and you don't really need to build her up in any special kit because the crit damage does not scale off herself, it's just inbuilt in her kit. Whereas for inspiration units, it is based off on the caster's attack. In this case for Autumn, she's very easy to build, a significant boost as well. So make sure you keep her early on in the game. I even keep her now as well, in case there's any more free-to-play content that I'd like to create that involves using her. And that's it. We don't have any rare units in the Tactician class yet, because this is quite a new faction that came out recently, or rather a new class of heroes. But yeah, this is gonna be one of the videos that is under 10 minutes. So just to recap once again, you are going to keep your 3-star lots from the Watchguard faction, North Throne faction, as well as Curse Cult faction, which are Borut, Degna, as well as Nero. And you can sell Nero and Degna once you get the epic equivalent. But for the Watchguard one, make sure you keep Borut all the way to the end, because you need him for the knockback in Gear Dungeon 2 in case you don't get any knockback units afterwards. And then the other units that we want to take note of is going to be Narvi for the cost generation, Decimus for his unyielding and low redeployment time, and then we also have Liam, which is the only unit that does Neurotoxin. And then last but not least, we have Autumn, one of the rare units that can actually grant crit damage increase. So there you go, the 7 rare units that you're going to make sure you keep to help you in the early game, especially when you don't get their legendary or epic equivalents early on in the game. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Thanks for tuning in. That was a short and sweet one. If you do have any more questions, let me know down in the comment section below. More than happy to answer them. And once again, if you're new to the game, make sure you use the code GET10 free draws, which you can find in my video description below. And that will hopefully help you to push through for the Christmas event that's coming up next week. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. See you in the next one. Goodbye.